Welcome to a journey through the captivating world of Europe's castles. In this exploration, we'll delve into the rich history and timeless beauty of these magnificent fortresses that have withstood the test of time. From the eerie charm of Orava Castle to the majestic presence of Edinburgh Castle, each stop on this tour promises a unique and enchanting experience. Join us as we uncover the stories, architecture, and heritage that make Europe's castles a treasure trove of wonder and fascination. Number 7. On the number 7, we have Orava Castle in Slovakia. It's a bit eerie and sits on a narrow rocky cliff. It might remind you of Dracula because it was used in a famous horror movie called Nosferatu. This castle was built a long time ago, in the 13th century, to protect Hungary from invaders. Over the years, it was damaged by fire, but then fixed up. It's amazing how they built it on the rocky hill, and it looks unreal. If you like spooky places, you should visit. Still in Slovakia, there's Spiš Castle, not too far away. It's one of the biggest castles in Europe. They started building it in the 12th century, on top of an older castle. But later on, a family who owned it decided it was too uncomfortable to live there. So they left in the 18th century. I bet climbing up to the castle wasn't easy. What's cool about Spiš Castle is its huge walls. It must have been a great place to be in medieval times. Number 6. So next is Edinburgh Castle. It sits on top of an ancient volcanic rock, and you can see it from all over the city. This castle is super old, dating back to the 12th century. But the rock it's on was used even earlier, way back in the 1st century. Edinburgh Castle has an incredible history. In its 1100 years, it's been through 26 sieges, which makes it the most attacked place in Great Britain and one of the most attacked in the world. Today, it's a top attraction in Scotland, and you've got to see it if you're in the area. Number 5. There's another impressive castle in Germany called Cockum Castle. It was originally built way back in the 1100s and used to make money by collecting tolls from passing ships on the river. Unfortunately, it was destroyed by the French in 1689. But in 1868, a rich businessman from Berlin decided to rebuild the castle ruins. Today, it stands proudly on a hill, looking over the charming town of Cockum. Not far from there, about a 30-minute drive away, is Eltz Castle. It's a popular spot for those classic Instagram pictures. So if you're in the area, make sure to visit both of these castles. You'll love it. Number 4. After Germany, we'll hop over to Poland to see the enormous Malbork Castle. It's up in the northern part of the country, about an hour from Gdańsk. This castle is huge. In fact, it's the biggest castle in the world in terms of land area. They started building it back in the 13th century when the Teutonic Knights, the German Catholic Crusaders, were in charge. It's mind-boggling to think about how they built such a massive structure in those days. Sadly, more than half of it got destroyed during World War II. But thankfully, they've rebuilt it to its former glory. Visitors can explore the castle's grounds, admire its architecture, and even visit some of the chapels inside. It's a truly unique experience, and it's definitely worth a visit if you're in the area. Number 3. Next, we'll head over to Lithuania to explore Trakai Island Castle. This castle is one of a kind. It was constructed in the 14th century and was a major center for the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Over time, it survived many battles, but during the wars with Moscow in the 17th century, it got damaged and started falling apart. Luckily, they restored it in 1961 to look like it did back in the 15th century. I really admire the orange cone-shaped roofs against the backdrop of the beautiful lake. Number 2. Then, we'll move on to Austria to visit Hohenzolsberg Fortress. It's up on a hill in the lovely city of Salzburg. This fortress is one of the biggest and best-preserved medieval castles in Europe. People started building it way back in 1077, and they kept adding to it over the centuries. I especially love how it looks down over the entire city of Salzburg, with the Austrian Alps all around. It's quite a sight. The fortress is also home to a lot of interesting artifacts, such as furniture and paintings, that tell the story of the history of Salzburg. It's well worth a visit if you're in the area. Number 1. After Austria, we'll travel to Malta to explore Citadella. It's located on the island of Gozo and is a massive fortress with a rich history. Before it was a fortress, they think it used to be an acropolis. During medieval times, they turned it into a castle, which served as a safe haven for the people of Gozo. It's amazing how big it is, right in the middle of houses. Living next to a castle like that would be pretty cool if you ask me. It's also a great place to take photos. We were able to get some great shots of the fortress and the nearby bay. It was definitely one of the highlights of our visit. In summary, Europe's castles are captivating remnants of a bygone era, each telling a unique tale of history and heritage. From the haunting beauty of Orava Castle to the grandeur of Edinburgh Castle, these fortresses hold timeless allure. Exploring these treasures is like stepping back in time, and they continue to enchant visitors from around the world.